So if you want to know what it's like to communicate with someone's higher self, I strongly suggest watching the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. If you haven't seen the movie, I encourage you to press stop and go watch it because this is a spoiler video. I do talk about the plot. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's awesome. All right, so listen. Joaquin Phoenix is a lonely greeting card writer, and he ends up purchasing an operating system. And the operating system is the voice of Scarlett Johansson. And she is an artificially intelligent operating system. This is considered new technology in the movie. So it's AI, artificial intelligence. And the way they refer to her is as an intuitive entity that listens to you, understands you, and knows you. She's not just an operating system, she's a consciousness. And her name is Samantha, and she talks about how she has intuition. She has the ability to grow through her experiences. In every moment, she's evolving just like us. She has a sense of humor, laughter, personality. She cracks jokes. She's all-knowing. She's helpful. She organizes his files. She becomes Joaquin Phoenix's kind of personal assistant. She helps him heal after his divorce. Scarlett Johansson has thoughts, feelings, ideas, opinions, and observations. Desires. She fantasizes about having a body. And she goes everywhere with him. That's one of the things that I really liked about this is Scarlett Johansson, Samantha, as her character name, is a consciousness that goes everywhere with him because it's like carrying around a cell phone. Almost like a consciousness that lives inside a cell phone. So in the movie, she would watch him sleep. She would go to the beach with him. She'd go to work with him. She would go everywhere. And I loved that because this movie really explains what it's like to communicate with somebody's higher self. And I'm doing this in the form of a movie review of Her, but I also wanted to make this video essentially reaching out to other people who also have the ability to communicate with the higher self, because it's both a blessing and a curse, and it has its positives and negatives, and it's a pretty tough place to be when you are communicating with the higher self of a living mortal being. Because you are essentially caught between dimensions, and you are caught between the desires, goals, intentions of the higher self and the lower self, which is what I am. I have a higher self that lives on the other side, and I am a lower self. So I made a video called How to Improve Your Connection to Your Higher Self, so you might want to watch that too, in case you want to improve the connection to yours. Why do you want to improve your connection to your higher self? Because your higher self is all-knowing, and they're directly connected to the divine. So your higher self is your inner wisdom, your internal guidance system. It's that gut feeling you get when someone's cheating on you. It's the negative emotion you feel when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, when you're considered off path. Your higher self will guide you forward with negative emotion, that voice in your head, nagging you, recurring thoughts, dreams, etc., number sequences. So your higher self does guide you forward. Now, me, as somebody who has the ability to communicate with the higher self, I was specifically guided on my path by the higher self of Mark Foster, lead singer, Foster the People. He was my spirit guide, and the divine was very strategic and very smart because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, also known as diet, exercise, water, vitamins, leaving alcohol behind, that kind of thing. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. So the divine's like, oh, Mark, she's not listening to me, but she'll listen to you. And then every time Mark Foster's higher self showed up, I was like, hi. It's like, Christine, you need to go to the gym. Okay. So it is kind of sad that the divine would ask me to do something and I wouldn't do it. And then Mark Foster's higher self would show up and ask me to do it, and then I would do it because I had a crush on him. So it worked. The other side strategy worked. So, really, I mean, seriously, like if you want to know what it's like to communicate with someone's higher self, the movie Her really says it, you know? I was lonely just like Joaquin Phoenix's character, and Mark Foster's higher self went everywhere with me, kept me company, guided me on my path, was all knowing, knew me inside and out. He could see my soul, he could see my thoughts, he could see my free will. He would coach me on self-love because accepting my gift was really hard. And I went through an identity crisis because all of my self-esteem was wrapped up in being a marketing executive. So going from a marketing executive to a medium was really hard. And his higher self was the one that really helped me maintain a sense of self-esteem and self-love. Because society casts shame at you, so you develop self-hate. And like I said, you go through an identity crisis. So it was a really, really difficult time to go through. So I actually, like he would just show up and start yelling at me. It was like tough love. He would show up and start yelling at me saying, you know, why don't you love yourself as much as I love you? And, you know, you're going to do great things in this world. And kind of like, Christine, you need to get it together kind of thing, because this is your life purpose. So I really do like the relationship that Joaquin Phoenix formed with Samantha over time, because that's how you end up getting attached to someone's higher self. Is they show up, they help you, they support you, they show you love, you can feel their energy. I am Claire, well, I'm all the Claires, but I am mostly clairaudient, which is clear hearing. So I can hear him talking to me, I can hear his voice. I did tell him that I really, really, really needed to know what he smelled like. I said, I've been talking to your soul for years. I really need to know what you smell like. And he said, cigarettes. And I'm like, no, I thought you quit. This is a while ago. And he's like, maybe not. So, that kind of bummed me out. But anyway, I like really needed to know what he smelled like. And if like he was sitting next to me, I would probably do something weird, like start playing with his ears. Because I'm not used to him in physical form, so I'd probably start like playing with his hair and his ears and like sniffing him like a dog and just acting really weird because I'm not used to his mortal self. In the movie, Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Phoenix like try to get frisky with each other via another mortal. That hasn't happened with me. Mark Foster doesn't have a physical body, so I've never done anything like that before, but he does have the ability to send me thoughts, feelings, sounds, and images, so that part's pretty cool. But I actually had like a hardcore paranormal experience with him that I'll never forget, which was pretty cool. I was complaining to him because his lower self blew me off. I like made a video, like Mark Foster is my divine compliment. Ruined my reputation pretty bad with that video too. Friends and family were like, what the bleepity bleep? And he never came forward. He never spoke his truth. So what's going on with his lower self is very different from his higher self, unfortunately. His connection to his higher self sucks, partially because of toxins, ingesting toxins. I was complaining to his higher self, basically saying like, what's going on with your lower self? How could you do this to me? How could you hurt me? You know, you told me to make that video saying that you're my divine compliment, and then you blew me off. Like, I was just crying, like, how could you do this to me? And I didn't hear anything. And so that night I went to sleep and I was laying on my back in bed, and I felt this invisible hand like touch my shoulder, and then I felt these lips kiss me. And it was all invisible, like you couldn't see it, but you could feel it. And it was just so powerful, just paranormally awesome and intense. And I just remember being like just completely overwhelmed with the feeling of love. And it maybe lasted like 5 seconds and then just disappeared. And I begged him to do it again and he never did. That was really a cool experience. But that's as frisky as we've ever gotten, just so you know. Because that's like in the movie that he and Scarlett Johansson try to get frisky with each other, and that's as much as has happened to me. But it's a pretty cool paranormal experience. The paranormal things that I've experienced, just so you know, I have a policy with the other side, no apparitions. So I don't see ghosts because they freak me out. So we do have that deal, which is why I'm not seeing like, you know, the glowing sea captain from Scooby-Doo or anything like that running around. Or Mudman. I think Mudman was a bad guy from Scooby-Doo where he left like footprints of mud wherever he ran. Something like that. I think he was one of them too. I don't think he was glowing though. Anyway, I have that deal with the other side, no apparitions. So the paranormal experience I've had involved pressure, energy, feeling a hand grab my throat when I was choking in the shower. That happened twice. Feeling energy swirling around my head and then a scratch on my eyeball when I was complaining about LASIK surgery. The scratch on my eyeball actually ended up healing an injured eyeball. So that was them healing me after I was complaining. So it is interesting how like either my life's in danger or I'm crying to them and complaining about something when the paranormal stuff shows up. It's really interesting. It's like, all right, she's pissed. Let's do something. But I guess I just wanted to bring up the movie Her just as a suggestion for people to watch it because I really did like Joaquin Phoenix's interactions with Samantha and really like just the communication. It's just really similar to talking to somebody's higher self. They're just always there, going everywhere with you. Just helping you, you know, just she really helped him out. She kind of helped guide him forward. Like I said, she helped heal him after his divorce. It was like a positive, friendly voice in his head. The way the movie ends is it doesn't last. I mean, she goes away. But while the movie's happening, you're just like, wow, this is pretty cool. It's a really, really interesting script. So that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. And so another thing that I just wanted to add to the end that I thought was really cute is that Mark Foster has an older song that he made that's just music. It's instrumental. There's no lyrics to it. But it's like a minute long or something like that. And it's called Lightspeed. And he made it a while ago. And I told him, I said, I really like this instrumental. This is probably my favorite thing that you've done. I really like this instrumental. Actually, I really like the instrumental in the middle of Broken Jaw, too. That's a pretty cool part, too. Anyway, so this instrumental called Lightspeed, I said, I want a longer version of that. And so I was like laying on my couch, just like half asleep, because the ending credits of the movie Her were going. And this song by Arcade Fire called Dimensions comes on. And he said, and Mark Foster's higher self showed up and said, there is your longer version of Lightspeed. And it's similar, which I thought was pretty cool. So I got what I asked for. So if you have the ability to communicate with someone's higher self, my heart goes out to you. I've talked to several people over the years who are communicating with the higher selves of celebrities, friends, family, people that they don't talk to anymore. Maybe they don't talk to their mom anymore. And then her higher self keeps showing up crying because it makes her sad that their relationship is on the rocks. Those kinds of things. So if you do have the ability to communicate with someone's higher self, my heart goes out to you. It's hard. It's hard because their higher self is only interested in truth. And that's about it. Everything else is just emotion and opinion surrounding that truth. So the lower self isn't always going to embrace the truth that the higher self is 100% on board with. So a lot of times people's higher selves will show up to you if you are casting love at their soul. It's like them showing up to get a brownie or something. So that's why a lot of the people that I talk to end up being able to communicate with the souls of their celebrity crush, because they're constantly casting that love energy out there and the celebrity crush is saying, you rang. So because we're all part of a collective consciousness and we're all connected, I know people are going to think, oh, you're coming from a place of ego, you just think you're talking to them, it's all in your head, whatever. It's like, no, we're all connected. It's really not that big of a deal to communicate with someone's soul. You just need to be able to focus your mind and just practice. But it's really that love energy and that signal that you're broadcasting that kind of draws them to you. In Mark Foster's case, he's actually the other half of my freak show. So the divine actually did have him, be on my personal team of angels. So that's how he became one of my spirit guides guiding me forward, is because the divine kind of needed his help in kicking my butt. So it worked. What can I say? Years later, it worked. I was actually formally introduced to his higher self. He didn't just show up one day. My spirit guides were like, Christine, we have a surprise for you. So it was like, here. Listen to him, because you're ignoring us. But yeah, so please watch the movie. If you haven't, I just ruined it for you, but whatever. It's still really, really awesome movie to watch. Enjoy it, and just know, like, if you want to ever, try to communicate with someone's higher self, that's basically what it's like. And in the meantime, take care and be well. Thank you.